Alright, welcome back guys to our next video. In this video we're going to continue with rational expressions, but now we're going to be solving equations that include rational expressions. Alright, so here we have our steps on how we're going to do that. Step 1, we want to find the LCD and then multiply each side of the equation by the LCD. So once we find the least common denominator, we're going to multiply every single term by that. And then once we do that, that's going to take care of our fractions. So once you multiply by the LCD, you should no longer have fractions in your equation. And then step 2, we'll solve that new equation. And then the last step is whenever we get our answers, we actually have to plug them back in and check them to see if they're true solutions or not. All right, so that's what we're going to be doing. So let's go ahead and start looking at some examples. All right, so here we want to solve 2 over x minus 3 over 2 equals 7 over 2x. All right, so our first step is to find the LCD. Okay, well, our LCD here would be 2x. Remember, your LCD has to be something that every denominator can divide into. All right, so our LCD is 2x. So now, step 1 says once we find that, we multiply each side of the equation by that. So we multiply every term by the 2x. So I have 2x times 2 over x minus 2x times 3 over 2 equals 2x times 7 over 2x. So I'll multiply every term by that. And now step 2, we want to solve. So here my x's will cancel. So I get 2 times 2, which is 4. Here my 2's cancel out, so I get x times 3, which is 3x. And over here my 2x's cancel, and I'm just left with 7. So our new equation is 4 minus 3x equals 7. And now step 2, to finish that up, is just to solve it. Subtract 4 from each side. We're left with negative 3x equals positive 3. Divide each side by negative 3, and x equals negative 1. All right, so now we solved it, and now we have step 3, which says to check your answer. So what that means is, because we're dealing with rational expressions, excuse me, we have fractions. Remember, we cannot have a 0 on the bottom of a fraction or it makes it undefined. So once you get your solution, you have to take it and plug it back in, and just to double check, make sure you do not get a 0 on the bottom of a fraction. If you do, then it's undefined, and therefore we have no solution. All right, so let's check it. If I plug in negative 1 here, well, I just get negative 1. If I plug in negative 1 over here, I get 2 times negative 1, which is negative 2. But either way, I do not get 0. Okay, so we're okay on that one. So x equals negative 1 is our solution. All right, let's look. Let's look at another one. So 2 over x minus 3 minus 3 over x plus 3 equals 12 over x squared minus 9. All right, well, if we look here, all of our denominators are not already factored form, so let's factor them all. This one's factored already. This is factored completely already. X squared minus 9 we factor into x plus 3, x minus 3. And again, the reason we do that is so that we can find our LCD. All right, so now my LCD, I'm going to write down my first factor of x minus 3. All right, well, my second factor is x plus 3. I don't already have that, so I must include it. Well, now my denominator over here, I already have both of those factors, so I don't have to include anything else. So our LCD is x minus 3 times x plus 3. All right, so now we multiply everything by that. So I have x minus 3, x plus 3, times 2 over x minus 3, minus x minus 3, x plus 3, times 3 over x plus 3, equals 12 over x squared minus 9, times, so now remember, we just factored x squared minus 9 into this, so our LCD is still really x squared minus 9. So I'm just going to leave that, x squared minus 9. And now we multiply and cross out. So my x minus 3's cancel here, leaves me with 2 times x plus 3 minus X plus 3 cancels with x plus 3. 3 times x minus 3. And that equals x squared minus 9's cancel, and I'm just left with 12. Now we just solve this simpler equation. So distribute here 2x plus 6 minus 3x plus 9 equals 12. Combine like terms, 2x minus 3x is negative x, 6 plus 9 is 15. Subtract 15 now from each side. So we get negative x equals negative 3. Divide each side by the negative 1, and we get positive x equals positive 3. All right, so now our last step, we just have to see if that's a true solution or not. Well, if I take positive 3 and plug it in for x, well, this right here gives me 3 minus 3, which is 0. So that means we get 0 on the bottom of a fraction, and that's undefined. So this means this cannot be a solution, and our answer is no solution. Okay, there is no solution, or the empty set. There's no solution that's satisfied. All right, good. Now I'm going to give you guys one to try. All right, so pause the video, give yourself a few minutes to work this out, and then come back and let's look at it together. All right, so first we need to find that LCD. So my LCD is 9 times y minus 3. So now I'm going to multiply every single term by that. So 9 times y minus 3 times 1 over y minus 3 plus 9 times y minus 3 times 1 over 9. And that equals negative 5 over 3 times y minus 3 times 9 times y minus 3. So I multiply every single term by that. Let me erase this one over here so we don't get confused. All right, now we'll cross out what we can. My y minus 3 is canceled. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 and 9 cancel. So we're left with y minus 3. Now here, this 3 cancels with this 9, that becomes 3. And my y minus 3's cancel, so we're just left with negative 5 times 3, which is negative 15. Let's combine like terms. 9 minus 3 is 6, plus y equals negative 15. Subtract 6 from each side. We get negative 15 minus 6. That gives me negative 21. So y equals negative 21. All right. If we take negative 21, we plug it back into y, we see that it does not give me 0 on the bottom of a fraction, so it's okay. All right, one more for us to look at. All right, so let's look at this one. So again, we first need to make sure every denominator is factored. The first two are good. Well, this just factors into t plus 2, t plus 8. And so our LCD, therefore, is t plus 2, t plus 8. Now we just multiply everything by that. So if I multiply my LCD times this, my t plus 2's cancel. So I'm just left with t plus 8. My LCD times the second term, my t plus 8's will cancel. So I'm left with 9 times t plus 2. Well, over here, my LCD and the bottom denominator over here, that all cancels. And so we're just left with 6. All right, so we get a little simpler equation. Now that we can solve that, I'm going to distribute my 9 through. So that's plus 9t plus 18 equals 6. Combine like terms. T plus 9t is 10t. 8 plus 18 is 26. Subtract 20 from 26 from each side. We get 10t equals negative 20. Divide each side by 10. we get t equals -2. So t equals -2. Now remember, we have to take that and plug it in to see if it works. Well, if I take -2 and plug it into t plus 8, that gives me +6. So that's good, so it works. But if I take -2 and plug it into the first one, -2 plus 2, well, that gives me 0, and that does not work. Okay, it has to satisfy every denominator. If you get one undefined, your answer has to be undefined. So therefore, that is not a solution, and our answer is no solution. All right, very good. So keep practicing these and see how well you do.